And I think we're live.
Hey.
Hey, okay.
Anyway, my Elric of Melnimmade reading group is going to happen, and you're all invited.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
No
I don't know what those first words were, but I heard reading group, so I'm out.
If you like fantasy, you'd know what it meant.
Anyway, hello.
I don't know fantasy.
Hello, those who are watching.
No.
Harry, just for a moment at least. Hello, welcome to Eat as the Earth, episode 5. Hurrah. I think we're just going to get into it today. There's not a huge amount to talk about aside from that our artwork is... That gnome is really distracting me. Our character artwork is on the way. Hopefully we'll be done next session. But yes, this is Eat as the Earth. It is a game inspired by the video game Caves of Cud. Thanks as always to Freehold Games for giving us permission to use their setting. We tragically only had 2.5 hours last time as opposed to our usual 3. So should we just get cracking unless anyone's got any notes or anything?
Is the gnome our new mascot?
Yes.
We'll have to get that checked by legal, but hopefully. Anyway.
Liam, I'm legal.
Okay. Well, so why are you asking? Shall we begin?
I did have a note. I can't remember what my note was.
Oh, I'm suddenly really bright. What was your... Well, okay. Well, if you remember it, you can ask. Anyway.
No, I know my note. Two notes. Two notes from Harry. Number one, my skin is really bad, and I'm hoping that the low quality of this video stream.
Oh, you can't tell at all.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but oh wow, that sounded sarcastic, Shannon. Thanks. Plus, I haven't shaved enough. Not great. So I look bad. So I'm sorry. But number two, I realised that I have worn the same shirt in almost all of our streams. It's one of two shirts. It's the orange and red stripy one, or it's this cool denim outfit that has 2 pockets here, which makes it quite nice. This is not because I don't wash and wear the same shirt every day. It's because I have about 6 to 7 shirts, so they tend to be on a fully weekly rotation, which means that unfortunately, as Thursday comes around, the washing has come up to the point where the same shirts resurface on the pile on the floor that I use to sort my washing, and I end up wearing the same thing again.
Okay,
Your
so
life is a horror.
That's happened. It's not... Go on, Sam.
I'm really glad that we've had this conversation.
no, I'm loving this deep lore into Harry's clothing. Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Okay, so last session it was basically all just one big punch-up. The Wizard's Apprentice, Nookh, as well as Lox and Ailey, were on the mountainside of Al-Afazi, performing some ritual which uncovered deep beneath the earth these metallic insectoid things petrified there. And meanwhile, at the camp, Karelia and Zurab had been approached by 4 strangers. Zurab, sensing that they were likely bandits or robbers or had some ill intent, started attacking them. A fight ensued. In the midst of that, Karelia took a particularly powerful blow and fell. And Karelia, as her consciousness began to fade away, she briefly connected with this kind of great pulse of life within this this ley line almost. Meanwhile, on the mountainside, Ailey and Lox and Nookh were attacked by what you now know as shimmer cats. These strange feline creatures that become completely invisible in darkness. I would say, mostly thanks to Lox's might, you survived the encounter fairly unharmed. You slew 2, a third ran away, leaving you with threats and making some reference to a mountain king. Meanwhile, Barnalect, who had left Lox and Ailey to head down back to the camp, arrived, and you tried to defuse the situation. 2 of the people who had attacked Zurab and Karelia were already dead. The remaining 2 were threatening to cut the throat of an unconscious Karelia. You managed to talk them into just taking the water and leaving, and then, thankfully, due to the sheer luck of these lizards being highly agitated and the poor footing of one of these people, the swing of a lizard's tail knocked one into the other, and Barnalect and Zurab were able to quickly go over and finish the 2 of them off. We ended with everyone returning to camp. Barnalect and Zurab tended to Karelia, who by some miracle, had clung to life. And when everyone had kind of gathered themselves, Ailey performed this strange ritual using her staff. And all of you were witness to this very profound, beautiful magic where these spectral glyphs gave medical insight, and these mandalas appeared in the air that revealed the magical objects on Nookh's person. And at the end of that all, Ailey also created these images of her deities, of the Dwaynish faith. Nookh and Ailey spoke, and you seemed to both be very interested in each other's magic before you went to sleep. That's where we ended. We come now to the next day. You awake before the sun reaches you and watch under a brightening sky as the sunlight crawls down the mountain peaks until the sun itself rises above the Alach range and banishes the cold of the night past. Yet not all the troubles of last night are erased. Dried blood forms morbid calligraphy across the campsite. The boldest strokes created when Zurab and Barnlect, no strangers to dealing with dead on the road, dragged the corpses into the night and discarded them off the side of the road. Your hairy lizards, calmed after a night's rest, extend their head and limbs throughout under their greasy coat and look at the ground, searching for the scraps of viscera that still remain between the pebbles and the insects that have consumed most of them in the night. What are you all doing?
Are lizards greasy?
So they have this this hair that itself is greasy. They're kind of like those very shaggy dogs that kind of look like brooms, but a giant lizard underneath.
What a shock that would be.
Yeah, if you pick up the fringe of one of those dogs, and there's just a big lizard head. Sorry, Grace, you were saying.
How are my wounds? I got a big cut on the back.
You did. You got slashed by claws on the back, but last night, Lox, using a piece of her own lion's mane, stitched your wounds. They sting, perhaps, but they're not going to impede you. And you can say if either in the night or in this morning, you took off the part of your robe that was cut and have stitched it back together.
I think that's the mourning process. Is
sure.
Making the repairs.
Cool. Has anyone else got any other morning rituals?
I'm gonna go check whether Ailey had any midnight encounters. Does it look like anyone was sleeping around with her, or she wandered off to anyone else?
You look over at Ailey stitching her robe up, and I guess you can give me an investigation check if you want.
Yes, I do. Where's that dice?
I think it's very worthy of the first roll of the game.
It's an 8, and my investigation is not very high. It's still an 8.
You look at the ground and you see Ailey's bedroll alone, and yeah, I'm not 100% sure what it is you're trying to find out here, but you think that Ailey.
Hey, there was a lot of tomfoolery going on last night. I want to, Zurab's conventional man with a conservative attitude.
With an 8, is your conclusion that I'm repairing damage to my clothes sustained in an amorous encounter?
Yes.
Yes.
You are, you're like cuts to the back, but the bedroll's alone. And you're like, Ailey, I guess you're just kind of awkwardly staring as Zurab turns over pebbles near you.
There is a complication here. If you want to add to it, I don't have a bedroll. I have like a big kind of cloak that's very
sure.
And I think I'm wearing that while sewing up the rest of my clothes, which were all wrecked.
Okay, so Zurab, your brain just doesn't know what to think. There's too many moving parts here.
So Ailey is like. Ailey's very slight form is swaddled in this kind of heavy woolen cloak, and then from it her arms reach out to sew up what are basically all the clothes you've seen her wear.
Yeah. So I would say that Zurab looking at all of this, bears further investigation perhaps, but currently, you don't want to chase a bunch of red herrings. You're not sure.
He keeps quiet. He doesn't say anything.
Okay.
Barney's gonna head over to Carillia and check that she's okay.
Okay. Shanna, does Carillia have any particular morning rituals as she gets herself up?
She's stretching out the shoulder that got real stabbed up last night. Yeah.
Okay, you're opening up your wound. Very nice. Shannon, I will say now, as you awake in the new day, you feel your arm. It stings for sure. The cut is still there, and perhaps small spots, of blood kind of appear as you flex your bindings, and then know not to do that. But despite that all, you feel a certain amount of healthiness. You can increase your maximum hit points by 1, and I'm going to send you your new feature now. I'm sending you it over Discord, if that's all right.
Via the interwebs.
Yes, over the internet.
The best thing that's ever happened to me.
I've sent you your new feature. Have you got it on Discord?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. I'll send you it over Facebook then. But
yes, please.
This is bullshit. Why don't we get any just like random bonuses?
Because I die all the time.
Did anyone ever play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? You know, there was that thing where if you kept dying over and over again, the game would give you like a sort of like a freebie and just some like random perk. That's this, but in Dungeons and Dragons.
Anyway, yeah. So Shannon, your maximum hit points increased by 1. You can do that now. You do go to your full hit points. Barnalek, looking over Carillia, I mean, you can tell she's hurt. You can see her wince as she flexes her shoulder. But yeah, you're looking over. She seems healthy. You don't think that there's anything that would impede her recovery.
Okay. Good morning.
How's it going?
It's good, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that you slept okay, that you feel a little bit better after you nearly died last night.
Well, would have died if you hadn't saved our butts.
Oh, and then I walk off because I get too embarrassed.
That ridiculous camel had nothing to do with you being shaved last night. It was primarily me. He did not see the man that I shot in the head.
Is Jurab lying here, given that Carillia was largely saved by a lizard's tail rather than...
Jurab, you don't have a bow.
I mean, he's like conceited, obnoxious, egocentric, like bandit type person.
Sure.
I think he's going to take the credit. Okay. And I also sense that Barnaleg is enough of a cuckold to...
There's nothing to be cucked. There's nothing to be cucked with Barney.
Fucking story boy Barney.
He's far too innocent to be a cuck.
Is he a beta auditor?
Let's anyway.
We've already ruined the session.
Jurab, yeah. I mean, you really brought it off to a weak start. Jurab ranting about how he shot people. You perhaps are kind of your words kind of crossed by Ailey. Yeah, Ailey speaks up and says such.
Jurab, what are you talking about? You don't have a bow.
Did I say shoot? I did say shoot, didn't I? Well, I can explain, what I did. Perhaps after you explain your weird stuff and, the symbols and I don't know how I would even have interpreted it, to be honest.
It's magic, Jurab. It's a blessing. What else do you need to know?
Thank you. Mine's magic as well.
Nice. Can I see it?
No.
You've seen mine.
I'll show you mine if you show me. How has Ailey turned into this character?
I happily step back. Ailey, take the spotlight of the romantic.
Okay, we can trade, but you get the little one. I hand over the unloaded Derringer.
Oh, I don't want to touch it. I just wanted to
you definitely said you wanted to touch it.
No, I just wanted to see it. You've seen mine. I don't want to touch your little piece. That's fine, thanks.
Jesus.
Cancel scream.
And she retracts. She retracts both of her like very slim arms inside the giant cloak, and she's just now a head covered in like a giant wool cloak.
All right, I just hold it out like just sort of like like this, like that. That's my phone, but imagine that it's a gun. For like 10 seconds.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I put it back.
So you see him dangle this small thing around. He waves it around a bit. But
it's definitely a device. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you? When I think it's controlled by his emotions. When he gets a bit afraid, there's a big cloud of smoke, and then he's gone.
Some people are just like that, really.
This is. So, I mean, I feel like I have to give Zurab a certain amount of psychic damage to reflect this scene or something.
Fucking Phil.
I mean, Harry, you do realize this is the only appropriate response to you coming out and going, I think Barnalec's a cuckold or something, and then just getting eviscerated by the rest of the
That was
party.
outside of the game world. Now I'm
Even
being locked inside the game world. It's all fun and japes, and then you fuck it up with the actual characters. No, okay.
When you deliberately get out your small piece.
You mess with the bull, you get the horn. So.
Well, I thought you were going to try and like shoot me with it or something. Whatever.
That would be pretty funny.
Grace, I'm going to give you inspiration for that because that was very good. Anyway,
I'm going to close it up, put it away, and just be like, there are some things you are not meant to understand.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree.
Good.
Cool.
Good, as long as we're all on the same page.
So, am I to understand then that you didn't make that? You were given it?
Oh no, I was given it.
Okay.
Or it was passed to me. What is this? What's happened? I need to watch some Jurab videos.
No, I'm a big fan.
Videos.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
And then I walk over to the lizards.
Sure.
And Locks, because I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Locks come down this mountain last night, and she did have quite a few cuts upon her person. You see the same kind of 3 claw slashes across her that Ailey had on her back, although there's a lot more of them.
Did I help her bind her wounds last night in return? I think I would have retrospectively.
Would you have insisted? Locks would be very happy to do it herself.
I would have offered.
Sure, I think Locks would have declined and done it herself then. Yeah, I mean, Locks will have taken care of herself. She always does. But yeah, I mean, you see that she's got some cuts, scarring herself. She'll look to Barnlect as he comes up. How was what was it like down here?
It was interesting. One of us nearly died. I, for some reason, talked myself out of a fight, which is very unlike me. And yeah, we were a little stroke of luck, and we're all good. You're not looking too hot.
I'm fine.
You sure?
And she'll you see that she kind of shows her back and says, "No scars on the back. I'm quite pleased." And kind of
Sorry. Do I know that they were attacked by shimmer cats, or would I know that they were shimmer cats?
I mean, you might suspect that they were attacked by some kind of mountain lion or feline creature or something with claws, some animal, you think, but they haven't said a shit. But you do see that she is kind of sniffing the air, keeping an eye out, but you don't think she sees anything.
Okay, lovely. No.
These ones were cowardly.
He's rolling dice.
Yeah, she doesn't see anything.
Okay, good.
These ones hid in the dark. I hope your opponents were more up front.
Yeah, you can say that. But hey, we're all here. We're all together. We're all safe, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, she doesn't. You feel that she maybe doesn't have that much to say.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I mean, I will say with you get the sense that Locks has probably more of a extended career in violence than Barnlect has. And I might know, I mean, Zurab and Barnlect killed people in pretty brutal, or at least summary fashion yesterday. I mean, Zurab won't have killed anyone in at least 5 years. I don't know if Barnlect's killed anyone ever. Does this have any bearing on either of you?
I don't think so. I think Barnlect's had to kill people.
Sure. I mean, possibly.
It's just like fucking riding a bicycle for me.
You never forget. Never forget.
Okay. Well, if that's everything, you have a kind of Spartan breakfast and pick yourselves up and get back on the road. Unless there's anything else.
What's Nookh doing?
Yeah, where are we going to now, Nookh?
Did anyone get any nookie?
Oh god.
Nookie, that's a thing, right?
Terrible. Yeah.
Isn't that word for...
Nookh says, we still have to continue our trip to Rayf Reach. Still another 3 days travel. This is only halfway. Is everyone ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You head out. You continue the road. The next few days are thankfully uneventful.
Can I speak to Ailey while we're traveling?
Yeah, I just want to say, as you leave from kind of the immediate area of the camp, and you go to where you kind of cross the part where Corellia, last night you used your, I think the spell is called Entangle, where you kind of summoned plants. You do see that they have withered and died now. You understand that kind of explosively using life force like this does exact a toll upon something. And they kind of, these extended vines and branches kind of crunch under your feet as you travel. And maybe Zurab, you'll spy kind of a few carrion birds kind of circling in the sky, kind of a ways off where you moved the bodies to last night, you think. Yeah, you continue on your way. The Zura River, which has been largely going alongside you, begins to arc southwards away from you. And eventually it becomes just dry road, few hardy bushes, sandy stones beneath your feet, and you have a few conversations on the sound of things. Sorry, Shannon, did you say Corellia wanted to talk to someone?
Ailey.
Cool.
So fiddle up over to our cat friend and say, so take it for sisters now. That's Irish now. Don't even know a little bit what I'm going for. Okay.
Why would that be?
Well, when I met you, I saved your life, and last night you saved mine.
I suppose yes, that's true.
We're bonded.
My debt is paid.
Sure. Well, I was just wondering, I didn't know you had any healing magic.
Oh, well, it's not really, it's more about knowing and then using the knowledge than it is about wizardry to change the body. My god helps me see what I need to do, and then it's easier for me to help. I didn't change your body by magic itself.
Well, I don't really understand what any of that means, but it sounds very intelligent.
Well, it's just easier to help someone if you can know what the spirits might know. They can help you.
Well, I help when I feel the energy in my fingers, and then I feel their lack of energy, and
I'm not an Esper. I'm sure an Esper would understand.
I don't mean to impose, but I just thought maybe you could teach me some of that meditation stuff.
Oh, I'm not sure. It's not my power. It comes from the staff, and I could definitely teach you about
just focusing my energies.
Definitely, and perhaps with your energies and my access to the knowledge of the gods, we might be able to collaborate.
I would be very eager, very grateful.
Okay. Well, when we next have an issue, maybe we can work together to solve it.
And I promise to save your life as many times as you need it.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Cool. Are there any other inter-party conversations that happen on the way? Why do I keep going so bright? No? Okay. At one point, fairly...
No. I want to go talk to the camel boy.
What? Barnalex?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, everyone seems entranced by whatever that staff magic thing happened last night. But How the fuck did you do that stuff with the wizard? Not the wizards, the lizards.
The lizards.
So I do want to say here, like, so far as you're aware, Barnelect didn't do much with the lizards. He kind of, you got the sense
He
that he
was
wanted them to be
staring at them
agitated.
intensely.
He did, okay. Like, Barnelect doesn't have psychic powers. I want to be clear here.
Surely I would have got that there was some connection with what he was doing, because he sent them over to the lizards, and then the lizards...
No, Harry.
killed
They went
them.
over to the lizards because the lizards are the pack animals carrying your water.
God damn it. Okay,
I just want to be clear.
fine.
I just want to be clear here that at least so far as Jarab has witnessed, an agitated lizard, which you could tell Barnelect was kind of hoping would react.
But I think it's like luck of the
lashed out.
draw, which it is.
I mean, you might think it's a kind of a supernatural amount of luck. That's up to you. But like, you know, Barnelect didn't say anything or do anything in particular to these lizards.
God damn it. Okay, fine. I end my line of lizard inquiry. No.
But you can say, like, you know,
that
so it
does
seems like you
make
know
sense.
lizards.
No, I don't think there's any world in which it would make any sense of him to be like, seems that those lizards luckily did the thing that all of us wanted us to do. This must be you. No, all right.
You might go over to
happened.
Barnelect and ask him about his affinity for animals, though. He certainly seems to have a knack for them. He knows them well. He's been taking care of the hairy lizards here. But sure, if you don't want to have that conversation.
Nah, it's not interesting enough. I wanted to ask him about magical lizard powers, but it's not even a thing, is it?
No.
Gonna leave it.
I wish it was. I wish as badly as you do, but unfortunately not.
So, okay.
Okay, cool. So that's like pure white behind me. Jesus, I can't get this thing to work. Okay. At some point, locks will come up to Ailey on the first day after you travel. Ailey will hear these kind of heavy feet come up behind you. Maybe feel the gentle touch of Lox's hand on your shoulder. And you see she comes up beside you and kind of regards your staff. Goes, so do you fight with magic?
I can. It's not really what it's for, but it can definitely hurt someone if I need it to.
Do you want it to?
Sometimes I need it to, and then often I want it to.
But you have no interest in fighting.
I think that everyone has to struggle to do what they must. Oh boy, Sam, are you all right?
Oh, Sam's turned into a... Oh, there we go, he's back.
Everyone struggles to do what they can and against what they must. But I haven't the strength to lift that. And she looks at the meteor sword.
Sure, this giant lump of metal.
I
Sam,
have
you keep
the
turning
skill.
green for some reason.
Yeah, Sam, you're completely fucked up over there.
It's kind of
I'm sorry.
Slightly hypnotizing me now with this strobing green.
Am I still strobing green?
Well, now you're just green.
No, you're just green.
Okay.
Right. Well,
that's better.
I might, if it keeps flickering, I might just stop your video because it's very distracting.
Okay.
I just don't want to have flickering images here without prior warning.
Keep me posted.
Sure. Anyway, sorry. So you've regarded Lox's giant sword on her back.
I said one other thing as well, which was that I don't have the strength to lift that, but I have the skill and the opportunity to exert my own strength in other areas.
She regards what you said for a moment. She kind of half smiles about you regarding the giant sword. Oh god, there we go. Hey, Sam's back.
Hey.
First, I first think that the sword matters less than the wielder. This is just something that calls out to me, kind of indicating the sword itself. I wonder, what does it feel like to kill with magic? I have never done so. I have only killed with a sword.
It's too easy. You can just break people apart.
She kind of laughs like this kind of very loud, slightly guttural laugh.
But Ailey says through it, she says, it's like trying to fight. It's like trying to fight a man encased in armor, full of a room of his hostages. You couldn't swing that weapon and safely. You couldn't do what you need to, and safely hurt only him, without great care, and perhaps a certain fear.
Ailey is so fucking cool.
Locks thinks
Can we give her double inspiration?
A sword kills with respect because you can feel the kill. But I think a magic is...
I assure you, I feel it very strongly.
Perhaps there's a danger. What she means to say is perhaps there is a danger to yourself as well. To use something that can do terrible things without any sense for the self.
Yes. Perhaps we both must learn restraint in our strength.
She kind of mulls it over, and you can see she kind of thinks, for me, nah. And I suppose you two go back to your normal walking together in silence.
Nice.
Yeah. At some point as well, Nookh will come up to Karelia. No need to look so alarmed. I'm just wanted to talk to you about your efforts in Osira and your connection to the Oseth people. I wondered perhaps what your thoughts were.
Well, I was under the impression we did this little trip with you, and then your big boss, he healed everyone of the plague.
And your loyalty to the Oseth people comes from?
Love.
He kind of seems almost like confused at the answer. I mean, have you and their people known each other for a long time, or?
I was there for 3 days.
Ah. And where were you previously?
Oh shit. What jungle do I come from?
Karelia comes from the Gibis jungle.
Well, I was born in the Gibis jungle, but I've been traveling around for about a year. Oh my voice.
I see. And you, go around helping, healing?
Helping, healing, learning.
I see. And would you, and you would help my master in his endeavors to heal the Oseth as well?
Of course.
Okay, he's going to make an insight check. All right. He kind of looks at you and just, he kind of nods and drifts away to walking with someone.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Brothers?
I have no brothers, no.
But you and him, you're pretty, I know I've grown up around the crocodile people, I don't really know, but, you look pretty similar.
Oh, you mean in reference to my master Illic? Yes, we come from the same place.
I mean, I come from the same place as a lot of people, and we don't look identical.
Perhaps just chance then. You may note I have a...
Can I roll insight on that?
Sure. He does say, you may note that I have 2 arms of the typical length, unlike my master.
Yeah.
My hair is short, unlike his. You can roll insight, yeah, go ahead.
Got a 19.
Why do I keep getting so... Right, there we go. 19. Okay. You think he's not lying, but he's being very frugal with the truth.
The truth frugler. Okay. I respect that.
Yes, you think this man might be an accomplished truth frugaler. But, such are wizards, right? If knowledge is their domain, they can hardly live by handing it out freely. Yeah. Do you have any further questions for him? I mean, he seems fine to just kind of walk away, having kind of gauged something about you.
And he will help, right?
He kind of pauses around. He goes, my master will help in his own way, but he is someone who keeps his word. And on your 19, there is confidence. This person believes that to be true.
Okay.
Cool. I'm going to say at this point, Zurab, it occurs to you that you're heading towards Rayf Reach, where you were previously with Moda Rayfort's retinue. You stopped there on the way to Behel. So as you're getting close, we're on the 6th day of you having travelled now, and perhaps you think you're recognising kind of the shape of the land, and so on. And eventually you all crest to kind of rise in the road. How do I get myself stop being so bright? This is really annoying me. Whatever. And you arrive at the edge of Rayf Reach, your destination. As you come over this thing, it's the middle of the day. You see small weathered blocks of pale stone and clay have been used to form these two twin buildings that flank the road. Beyond one building is a vacant field. You can see the kind of earth there is disturbed, a bit churned by what you think would be the recent passage of large people. Zurab, this is where Moda's, the legion accompanying her, stayed, as well as you and Moda's retinue. Beyond the other building, you can see a small farm plot, a well, and further beyond, a few goats that are chewing on the tough shrubs of the hillsides. And then you look past and you see beyond the buildings, the road disappears into drying earth, and far out there is the salt desert of Z. For some of you, this is a truly alien sight. These perfect rolling dunes of white that extend beyond sight in all directions. This place is a simpler world than you understand. It's a place of just this pure, unsullied monochrome. Here, the veneer of nature, of life itself, has been removed, and it reveals just these pure geometric shapes of the earth underneath. That's what you regard before you as you come towards this place. Does anyone do or say anything in particular?
Have I been here? Do I know this place?
Give me a history check.
Okay. Okay. Do that. That is 18 plus history. For 22.
Okay. I say you come through here. You regard this place for a second, and as the wind carries across and you feel a few kind of dry leaves brush across your feet, you look at this place and you recall perhaps yourself as a younger child passing through here. These buildings are so plain that you would think that it would be kind of lost in memory for their lack of detail, but no, something, their simple purity stands out to you, and you recall stopping here with your family, your caravan, your saltbacks parking here and drinking from the well. Yeah. You think perhaps you came here once as a child.
Okay. I just take a moment. That kind of hits me, and I just take a big breath.
Cool.
I have a lore question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned goats.
Yes.
And I'm aware that there are also goat people. What
Yeah, well,
is the
I don't know if
relationship between
Azura
these
might not know that the goat folk exist.
Yeah, no, I'm asking in a more general lore sense.
Is it Hector Moonspear?
Okay, what's the relationship between goats and goat people? Do they see themselves as like anyway the same, or is like
No,
nothing at all?
Like chimps and men, right?
yeah,
Like,
they are entirely different peoples. They don't
Right.
really
Okay.
interact.
So they just share like people call them the name, but it doesn't actually mean anything. They're not like, oh, my kin.
No.
Man,
Seeing
the
goats
ape
here doesn't mean
person.
you're about to be attacked by goat folk, if that's what you're asking.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm genuinely asking whether or not like a goat folk would have an issue eating a goat or like some stewed goat because they'd be like, oh no, cousin Roger, but they obviously wouldn't. Sorry,
no.
this is so fucking pointless. I apologize.
It's fine. No,
So you're
goat folk-
asking the questions that need to be asked, Harry.
no, goat folk would not have a problem eating goats. I'm sure that will be the one nugget of truth that is, that saves the day at the climactic finale. But for now, that has no relevance, as goat folk are not native to these lands. You come into Rayf Reach. Lochs and Barnelect tether the lizards to a post, and Nookh begins to point out a few things for Lochs to carry. You see a child kind of comes from behind you at a different angle, and you see them carrying a jug upon their shoulders, carrying water, you suspect from the river, back towards the southwest. You see there are a few people around here. Only one of these two buildings seems to be populated by a family of 5. But Zurab, I'll say when you were here, you probably wouldn't have interacted with these people. You would have stayed with Moda's retinue throughout this, I would say. So I don't think you really have much of an idea of who these people are or anything.
Was there much or any contact with people outside of the retinue? Or was it very much a sort of like, you wander through and you're perfumed whatever and don't really mix with the common rabble?
You're kept around as an oddity, and you are, expected to be. Oh god, I can't get myself to be not so bright. There we go.
Why did you think turning on more lights would make it better, Liam?
It's underlit, so it's illuminating my background. Whatever. Sod it.
So I actually think I know what it is. It might be because your camera's not really focused on the right thing. I think it might be looking at the like black of your shirt instead of the. No, that would be the opposite of what you want to do. Yeah, lift it up more.
You got to.
There we go.
The only option.
There we go. All right. Yeah, it's just my floating head now. Okay, sorry. Let's get back on track. You'll have led a fairly isolated existence these past 5 years. Anyway, you begin to unpack things. Nookh goes into one of these places. You're free to follow him around, look around this place if you want, but you do hear him negotiating inside for the use of the other building here for you lot to stay in, and also that he wishes to, you will all overhear, he's not particularly trying to hide his words, that he intends to set up a tent here as well. Those who are with him or can see him will see a few coins, trade hands with a woman. You think perhaps getting towards 30. The salt has kind of dried and leathered her skin, blown from the desert.
And 30 years old here, right?
That's pretty old, yeah. I mean, a lot of people die in their mid-30s. A woman who's ahead in her years and weathered by the elements. A few kind of small children, perhaps, regard you. Rather kind of sullen-looking person, kind of a young woman, tills the fields here. Do you interact with these people at all, or they don't seem to have any interest in interacting with you directly, but they regard you as just more people passing through.
How big is this settlement? Is it just 2 buildings?
It's just 2 buildings. It's not a settlement. It's just as you will know, this is just a trade post. This is just a place that's kept stocked by the Rayfort Dominion within the Thype Empire. And we'll say that Zurab explains this to you, perhaps, or not. Harry, you're free to interject.
No, I helpfully explain all of this to everyone.
This is a trade outpost maintained across the desert from the Third Empire for them to resupply on occasion when they pass through. But it's mainly used by their merchants. It wasn't used by the army when it came through here. That's
Would it be likely that there are any valuables just lying around?
So they have stock here. They have, there is a surplus of water. There's cloth. There's non-perishable food. There's not particularly, like art objects or gold or silver. Aside from the few coins that have just changed hands between the currency that's just changed hands between Nookh and the person who seems to run this place, this old woman. You could try to steal that if you want, but
nah, I ain't stealing that.
Nothing stealable and kind of nothing compact enough to be worth stealing stands out to you.
Fair. And there aren't any merchants here at present, right?
No, this place is currently vacant, aside from this family and your group.
All right.
Nookh comes out the building and goes, I've arranged for us to stay in this building across here. We should go under. It's about to get rather hot. Catch the shade while we can. The lizards are put in some shade, and you come into this very sparse room. It's just a stone box essentially. You begin to set up your things. I think at this point it's a little early, but shall we have a little break while Harry runs off to do something?
Yeah, it's my mind.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. We'll be back in a few minutes then. Just gonna quick right now.
Wait, would it not be better to wait for another few minutes before we have a break so that we can coincide with Sam needing to run off?
Oh, that's true. Okay, fine.
Coincide with the NHS party.
Yes, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Good idea. Okay. You come into this place.
I can wait until then.
You begin to fill this place, and Nookh then says, we'll be staying here for the day. I have business, this transaction I've spoken of previously, to attend to tomorrow, and then we will leave. We'll head back to Behel. For now, just relax here. Sam, you all right?
Yeah, that was Barney raising your hand.
Barney, you've raised your hand. Can I help?
Yes, I have a question. What is it particularly that you would like us to do whilst you go off and have your meetings?
Well,
for God's sake, I just had a moment of me looking at myself doing this, and like it all just got a bit real for me there. But anyway, carry on.
He goes, Barney, and this extends to all of you. The main purpose of your journey has already been completed. There's strength in numbers while traveling. I may require you for some aid, but for now you can just relax here. You should be undisturbed.
Should be. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Check to be like, is this bullshit?
You can give me an insight check.
Oh yeah, I should have done a fucking insight.
If they were rolling not in the room.
You don't have to. Sorry.
Are we rolling our own dice, or do you want to roll in the room for me?
No,
I'm having trouble.
Roll on your desk. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you can hear it clatter.
Oof.
That is a 12 plus my bonus is 19.
19. You can tell he doesn't want to talk about it, but also talk about what transaction he's going to be holding here. But also, you on a 19. Yeah, I mean, you think he's being fairly upfront that you're unlikely to have to do anything else particular. There's strength in numbers and travelling, and that's what he's been provided. Although I will say on a 19, you think that maybe it's a bit odd given what you've picked up. Some of the other people have been promised seems disproportionate to the meniality of this task. I mean, you did get attacked. It wasn't like this isn't completely trivial. You could have potentially died here, but in the same way that really anyone on the road could. So yeah, I'll say that's what you pick up.
Sure, which is no more than I already thought, right? I don't gain any additional insight into his. He's not like expecting trouble. He's not telling us about or anything like that.
That's me twisting an evil mustache.
Expecting trouble. I'm going to say on a 19, you're not sure. He seems fairly. Perhaps he's rehearsed this in his head previously. But yeah, cool. He explains this to you. He takes Locks out of the room to help him set up his tent outside. He appears to want to keep himself fairly separate from the rest of you. You are left to yourselves within this place. Do you get up to anything in particular?
Like a shopping. I think we're going to have like a shopping episode.
A shopping montage at a trade post. Yeah.
Go to the mall. Yeah.
Do you do anything here particularly, or shall we? Oh, police are on to us.
Sorry.
It's all right.
He didn't bring us here.
Sorry?
He didn't bring us here just for company on a 4-day hike.
6 days. You've travelled 6 days. Sorry. To be clear.
Is this you? Is this you speaking, or is this?
This is Ailey speaking.
Okay, cool.
Well, we did almost all die a few days ago. I think maybe that was it.
Yeah, but a couple of soldiers would be cheaper, probably, and less effort than getting. Well, he's got some wizard's tools. I don't know about you two, but an esper, a priest. It's not bodyguard material, is it?
I'm going to say either Barnlect or Ailey can give me an intelligence check, just raw intelligence here, if you want.
Either or both.
Well, whichever one of you wants to, and if both, you can both do it.
Yeah, well, let's both do it together.
Oh. That's 18 with raw intelligence.
Mine is not so good. Raw intelligence is 9.
9. Yeah, this is going over Barney's head. It's just like, wow, I mean, I'd say perhaps Barnlect is fairly used to slightly odd requests working for Ilek at this point. That is kind of, you've learned to just kind of tune it out. I would say what stands out to Ailey is you will recall a few things in the previous when you were in Behel almost a week ago. The person who introduced themselves as Tajib, the alchemist, spoke to you and wanted you to report on what Ilek and Nookh were up to. So you recall that. You'll also recall that same person, Tajib, coming and speaking to Nookh before you departed on, confronting them about this group being some kind of, retinue that can, use violence, which Nookh defended, which you all knew as a lie at the time, as kind of assistance for the journey. Barnlect was an animal handler. Lox is someone who can carry things. You were a monk who's traveling the same way. Karelia is someone who can heal, and so always has use on the road. Those kind of things.
So the inference being that it's like a set of deniable
possible
assets.
I don't think Ailey yet knows about the centralizing of Behel's military might. I don't know if Barnlect's spoken about that yet, so that might be a third thing, but I don't know if Ailey knows about that particularly. So yeah, those are the things that come to you, just kind of thinking about this, talking about it out loud with other people.
Yeah, I think I'll bring that up in case Barnlect has anything to add to that with his knowledge.
Cool. So Ailey mentions these things. She recalls. So do you say Tajib the Alchemist this name, which they did introduce themselves, so you will know that name if you want.
I mention the name, but I don't say he asked me to report.
Sure. Barnlect, that name stands out to you. It's one of the wizards who governs Behel. So a significant figure. I mean, you saw them as well as everyone else did. Approach Nookh and kind of poke about this group, this adventuring party. I will say now that the person is called Tajib. Their title is the Alchemist. Every wizard within the council has a title. Ilex is the Immortal. You don't know if that's figurative or not. But yeah.
Good.
Not anymore.
Hey. Or is he?
Yeah.
Find out on the next episode of that. No, it's not there yet. We're still going.
These are the things told to you. I'm not going to push you any further. If Barnlect wants to try to deduce things or something, that's fine. But you may not think about it if you don't want to.
Yes, I have. Barnlect has a thirst for knowledge and water.
You see Barnlect take a long drink. Does he say anything?
No, just yeah, that's as he has a drink. It's just like he recounts that information to Ailey
About the army
that you've just told me about, the alchemist.
Oh, sure.
And everything like that. Me smells something fishy.
Yes. Secretive agents are even worse, right?
Yes. I completely agree. And this was the question that I had. I had a question with Larks beforehand as well as to why that we're the only two people that have been sent on this mission.
Mm-hmm.
But I got told to trust my heart. And I'm worried that I'm not doing that.
What does your heart say?
I just have another drink. Another long drink. But obviously not taking in too much water because we have a very short supply. But
Sure.
it's just nice to have the water up against my lips. And he go, what was your question? Sorry.
What does your heart say?
My heart says that I needed to come on this mission and not to ask too many questions because I always get told off for asking too many questions.
You have a very pragmatic heart.
Thank you.
Jurab and Corellia just kind of sit there, slightly confused by this
I was about to
conversation.
say, can we hear this?
You're in the room. You're watching this conversation happen, where kind of you see that Ailey says these things, and clearly is thinking about it, and Barnlect kind of furrows his brow, and then keeps drinking really heavily.
Well, I think Barney has. Here you go.
What is Barney becoming? What is he becoming?
Fucking weirdo, man.
He is.
Well, I think Barney has the right idea. I don't think we should ask too many questions.
But we should ask some.
Maybe like one question, but we should really limit ourselves.
I'm gonna actively not involve myself in any of this.
Jurab salts.
Then it has to be a really, really good one question.
Zerab, are you not concerned that if we don't find out what he's planning for us, you're going to get a nasty surprise?
I've spent this entire time polishing my gun, and I'm gonna say nothing and just polish it more vigorously.
Wow.
As I said that, I realised the implications. That really wasn't intended from the beginning. Like, it would make a lot of sense for a man whose primary weapon is a gun to clean and polish it. It's not a weird phallic thing. That's just what he's doing right now. Okay?
I mean, you've made it like that now that you've said this, but yeah.
Yeah, it is now.
No, it was definitely before when I said vigorously. That's definitely the line where it was crossed.
Vigorously. But Zerab, he brought you because of those. And he knows that you're going to have to do something with them as part of his plan. And wouldn't you like to know what that is before you have a nasty surprise?
I don't particularly care. I'm good with these. They've solved many problems for me.
But if he's not told you what he wants, that means it's something that you won't want. Right?
That is not true. That's not true in the slightest. Many things you are not told about end up being...
world-wise man.
Wait, was that in real? Was that in character?
It was over the top of whatever he was saying.
Okay.
You know better, surely.
I've spent my life, not being told about some things. Half the time there are things I want, and half the time there are things I do not.
Is it time to go?
Well, it's all right. Sam will go off. I think we'll finish this conversation, then we'll do break.
Okay. And I will say, then Ailey says, and do you like it that way?
I have learned to understand being kept in the dark is sometimes not of benefit, but it's a reality.
That is true.
I go back to polishing my gun.
I think you all kind of state where you stand. Does Corellia say anything at all, Shannon?
I just think if we meddle, and then they get angry at us, and then they retract their help, and all those people die because we ask too many questions, Do you agree with me?
She's
That's
not
right.
wrong.
I will say that statement hangs silent, unresponded to in the air as you kind of go about to, your personal rituals, and the day begins to pass. We're going to go to break now. We should be back in about 10 minutes. Stick around. Yeah, cool. And we're back. Cool. All right, we're going.
Wow.
So, brilliant, Sam. I mean, you timed it so well. We rehearsed this dead on. Just right, bullseye.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm happy for you, man.
You pathetic, weak human, dictated by the wills of your own nose.
Anyway, unless you do anything in the interim, we come to night. You're staying in this room. Given the circumstances, it's fairly cold within this room at night time, and there is a small fire pit at the centre to keep some level of warmth here. Nookh joins you. You see that he and Lox have set up this rather small, white tent next to your place. Perhaps you catch kind of through the opening, maybe a few things set up in there, but you can't really make out any details. That night, you eat food that's been carried here by your hairy lizards. Perhaps you have some small talk around the meal. Nookh and Lox are here if you want to say anything to them. But otherwise, you spend the day kind of bored, if anything. You go to sleep. Nothing's really happened to you. I mean, you had this conversation kind of when you got there about, how much you wanted to try to gauge about why Nookh has brought you here. But aside from that, there's largely small talk. There is one thing, though, where Nookh at one point in the evening's meal will come sit beside Zurab. He kind of sits beside you, and goes, "So, Zurab, it's my understanding that you were in Moda Rayford's retinue for some time."
Yes, I mean, I was dragged around by her.
Yes,
it's her, right? I haven't got that wrong. Like some sort of toy, like you would give to a kid or a cat.
You would give to a kid or a cat, or you would give a cat to a kid. I really want to be clear here.
Like you would give to a kid, or you would give to a cat.
I see.
Something for it to play with, something shiny that can do the occasional trick.
We don't give toys to cats where I'm from. Where are you from?
You must have shad cats.
Perhaps. I try not to cross their paths. What do you think of Moda Rayford? What is she like? What makes it tick?
It seemed like she liked having power over people. And more than that, I cannot tell you anything.
It's a fairly common trait. You were with her for 5 years. Do you not have any other thoughts about her?
Just thinking 1 sec.
You take your time to think about it.
No, I mean, I'm trying to remember if there's anything I have written about my relationship with her that I've now forgotten. Listen, everything I would have experienced from her, every knowledge I had of her, it was experienced through the cipher of her owning me. This is not something that can present a, true, proper understanding of what someone wants or needs. When they own you, how are you supposed to tell? You are but an implement in their hands.
I see. And what of the people who surround her? What do you think of them?
Lackeys.
Sure. Probably the ones who stand out to you. Mosaic is probably the one who stood out the most to you, who you might recall, her steward. Who you will know is a very low level Esper, very slight telepathic talent. And can you give me a, let's just say, basic intelligence check as well?
Yes. Taking some time for that to throw. My intelligence is really low, isn't it? I get a 7.
Okay. So thinking on Moda, kind of, I mean, I think it would be fair to say Europe has a fairly dismissive view of the people around her. Or is that correct?
Yep. I mean, I called them lackeys.
Sure.
Quick backstory question.
Yeah.
Was it just like a standard retinue of just a bunch of people doing what she tells her and being yes men? Or was it like a collection of like interesting curiosities, like, me with gun, person with Esper?
So, from what you gathered, it's kind of a mix of both. So she surrounds herself with people who pique curiosity, who have a kind of aesthetic value, but then also, there is a kind of hope that they have some, political, administrative value. So Mosaic is someone who is a bit of an oddity herself, but also is the steward to Moda, so has both an aesthetic and a bureaucratic value. I will say on a 7. The only one you particularly recall is who stood out is the one of the bodyguards of Moda Rayfort, River to Chai, who's this Koloa, these red-skinned, horned people with tails. This kind of woman getting on in her years, who you knew to kind of fight with daggers, but you can't really recall particular details with her. You and her did not particularly communicate, so, even with 5 years, your information is, at least so far as you're recalling currently, is fairly limited.
In that case, going right back to the original question, I'm still just going to be like, lackeys, people that, she thought were useful or interesting. Little more.
Okay, all right. Thank you. And he just kind of gets up and goes to sit with Barnelect and Locks, who's a little more...
Can I, before he goes, can I just be like, why do you ask? It is not interesting. There are many people like her.
I mean, he kind of regards someone and goes, well, I suppose there's no point in hiding it. She'll be coming here tomorrow, on her way back to Thype. I thought I might have some understanding of who she is as she passes through.
Are we expected to meet her?
No.
I think that is for the best.
Perhaps so. And he goes to sit with Barnelect and Locks, and eat with you too. He's a bit more kind of used to you two.
Good evening.
Hello, Barney. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
That's slightly too posh. Hello, Barney. How are you? Yes, I'm good. I'm just gathering myself, really.
Well, how did your day go?
Dull. Not much to do, really.
Oh boy, same. Is there? Hey. Is there anything that you'd like me and Lux? This can't be the only thing we have to do. You know, there must be a reason that me and Nookh over there were brought along. You could throw us a bone, maybe get us to do a little job or something.
Give me a persuasion check.
Persuasion.
Yes, persuasion.
Okay. That is a 6. 11.
He kind of regards your words and smiles and goes, I'll call on you if I need the two of you, Barney, but please rest easy. You've done good work.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. The evening ends, the meal ends. You retire, you go to sleep. And the next day is similarly uneventful until it comes to about afternoon, where you hear kind of the shout of one of the people who lives here outside, and one of you may incline out the window and see approaching from the distance these tall banners of every colour of the rainbow fluttering in the sun, and the 7-feathered plumes of Thype coming down the road, perhaps an hour away, previously hidden by the kind of rolling hills of this place. In the hot sun, you perhaps catch the glint of armour that has been kind of stripped down to a kind of a bare minimum aesthetic standard, too hot to wear this close to the desert. You see them approaching. Zurab, Nookh will come up to you as this procession comes closer. It says, when we spoke yesterday, you sounded a little unfavourable towards your previous companions. Perhaps best to, I don't know, keep out of sight.
Oh shit, she's here.
Yeah, this sounds like a very good idea. I'm going to go back inside. I get back inside.
Cool. And all of you see this glittering Technicolor cavalcade slowly rolls in out at the front, sitting, tall, stiff-backed, noble, astride a camel that is shaved in all these intricate flowing patterns detailing their noble history. Moda Rayfort rides and goes back to occupy this large stretch of earth nearby.
I have a question, if that's okay.
Ahead,
sorry to interrupt.
No,
similar to Harry's question before about goat people and goats.
Yes.
What are the dromads' relationship with camels?
They use them. They do recognise there's a certain likeness there. But the traditional pack animal of the dromads is the saltback.
Saltback turtles.
The pale. Okay. Is it tortoise? I can never remember if it's. I think it's tortoise. So it's just another pack animal on the road to you in terms of like, oh, we look like that, but I mean, in the same way that like some humans, will look like other animals, right?
Yeah. Ape people.
Yeah. I mean, you maybe have seen apes before. They look like some mutant humans. You don't make a fuss about it.
Right.
I will say for you, you think everyone sees there's about 2,000 soldiers here. There's a lot of people. Zurab, you'll know this to be a half legion within the military structure of Thype. Karelia, you probably have never seen this many people gathered together in kind of uniform, and uniform both in the sense of their attire, but also how they move, how they march as one. You'll never have seen anything like this before in your life. Behel was a very populous place, but everyone was kind of, coming and going at their own pace, doing their own thing. Here, people move as one. Perhaps this is a fairly alien sight to you. But yeah, they come in. You hear the sounds of soldiers begin to set up these large trapeze tents. For the general soldiers, they're just a kind of a plain white, but you can see banners of more complex colours and symbology kind of to the centre of this large stretch of tents, almost this kind of carnival that has been set up in the stretch of earth across from you. Zurab keeps to himself inside. Does any of you... I mean, some of these soldiers might spy you if you're outside the building and kind of, you can see they look your way. They don't particularly do anything. Particularly if they look at Barney, just another dromad on the road. Doesn't mean much to them. They set up. We're now going to fast forward to the evening here, unless there's anything anyone wants to do in the interim.
Can I ask what Ailey knows about the Empire? The
Thype Empire. Yeah, sure. Give me a history check.
What is my history bonus? It is 5.
That's good.
I crit actually, so maybe I do know something about them.
25. Okay, so Thype Empire. It's this. I mean, obviously your knowledge is going to be fairly limited by your distance to this place, but on a 25, you know it is this large, sprawling empire, far, far to where Odrin, where you're from, it would be to the northeast, but from Al-Akhfazi, it's just the east, across the Z Desert. The place itself is broken up into domains, which then the name of the domain itself is tied to the ruling class there. And you might, thinking about this, realise that the trade post you're at is called Rayf Reach, and Moda Rayf Fort just came through, and you think there's perhaps a connection there between the Rayf region, the Rayf Fort region, and Rayf Reach here. Although, I'll say on a 25, you have some idea of the kind of the layout of the place. Rayf is the region that borders the Z Desert, so it's the most closest region to here, but definitely not the center of the empire. It's kind of almost kind of rural borderland, so it's not the epicenter of power by any means.
So they have like sort of lots of regional governances.
Yeah. So it's a bit like Roman Empire had, regional governance, and generally your proximity to the center of the empire dictates kind of your status amongst the kind of the ruling elite. The Thype Empire is its ruling class is made up of Thippians. They are their own people. They are these strange. They're humanoid mostly. I mean, they have 4 arms and 4 legs, but their faces are very distinct from that of your typical human mutant. They have this trunk that dominates most of the face and covers most of the mouth, although it is slightly prehensile, so they can lift it up. And they have two small tusks, very sunken, deep eyes, and an almost kind of purplish hue to the more kind of veinier, thin areas of their skin.
Did you say 4 arms and 4 legs?
Sorry, 4 arms and legs. 2 arms, 2 legs. My mistake.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry.
Their hands, they only have 3 digits each hand. These very kind of thick 2 fingers and a thumb. Digitigrade legs, that's their physiology. In terms of their symbology, 7 feathers is often used as the central symbol of Thype. And it's kind of almost used like a crown atop symbology. So a sigil for some particular nobility within Thype will have its own symbol, and above that will be 7 feathers, often 7 physical feathers. And that's something you've seen coming in. Other things you know about Thype? I'm trying to think of everything I can off the top of my head.
Are they expansionist?
Sorry?
Are they expansionist?
Yes, you will know that over the years they have expanded their empire. Crossing the Z Desert's fairly difficult. Obviously, moving soldiers across the desert's kind of hard. And I was on a 25. You kind of clock that they crossed the desert with about, so far as I'm looking, 2,000 soldiers. So this is clearly a very significant envoy. What else? Metallurgy, they use iron rather than the bronze of the Al-Akhfazi region. The grey metal. Yeah, I will say that's what you know on a 25, given your distance from the region.
Cool. Thank you.
Big lore dump there. Anything else before we...
do I know anything about their religion?
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot about that. I'm not going to trawl through my notes to try to find it. Their religion is worships the sun.
Heathens, then.
Yeah. So it's both. You'll have picked up. Yeah, no, given your religious background, I'll say you know that the sun to them is both kind of an object and a entity. It's a bit less personified than your faith is. But the sun kind of moves itself through the sky with some intent, and that forms the kind of the central deity. And then there's a kind of a very kind of a slightly animist elemental approach to the kind of minor pantheons surrounding them. They have minor gods that are things like sunlight and fire, and earth and water and so on, which are within their cosmology considered to be products of the sun itself. Sunlight kind of hit a barren earth, and from that came all of the elements in the Platonic sense of element. Yeah, that's what you know.
It all sounds deeply deranged.
Yes, I mean, it sounds heretical to the extreme.
Well, it's not so much heretical. Like, it's not asserting false truths about.
True.
It's just mistaken.
Yeah.
Badly.
Okay. So we reach early evening. Sun hasn't quite set yet, but the shadows are beginning to lengthen. Have you been doing anything? Have you just been staying in your quarters? It's fairly hot out here, so in the shade is a nice place to stay. But have you been doing anything besides? I want to ask.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel the need to. I feel the need to do something interesting. But
no, you
don't
have to. I just want to make sure that I'm not robbing chances from you, and you feel cheated later.
Okay. No.
But if not, at one point there will be a knock on the door. To your quarters. Assumably one of you opens it and Nookh is there.
I will answer.
Hello, Barney. Could I speak to Ailey, please?
Yes, let me check if she's in. Ailey!
I'm here, Nookh. Thank you. Thank you, Barney.
Go and sit down.
Thank you, Barney. Ailey, could you join me outside?
Yes.
You come out, you see that he's placed one of the crates that was previously lashed to one of these hairy lizards at the side of your building, and goes, if you'd like to follow me, and simply kind of casually almost kind of steps onto this thing and steps onto the roof of the building you've been staying in. It's only one floor, it's not particularly high, this thing. Flat topped. He kind of walks onto it and sits down. You inside perhaps can hear kind of the very faint thump of feet on top, but it's a thick building. So you can't exactly hear outside that much.
And what can we see from up here?
You see he sits down, his legs over the side, looking at this massive stretch of tents of all of these soldiers. You can see kind of fires have been set up and things are cooking on spits, and perhaps a bit of drink is being shared.
Orderly rows and such?
Sorry?
Orderly rows, or just like a sprawl of tents?
I mean, given the kind of the contours of the land and the roundness of these tents, it's not something that has been organised in a too uniform way. But you can see, it's effectively circular, maybe oval. But the closer it gets to the centre, the tents get a bit more ostentatious, a bit more colourful. Banners are risen and fly colours. You think kind of the higher up in prestige. The closer you are to the centre of this thing. He sits there because I've been wanting to talk to you. I've been gathering myself these past few days, but I wanted to do you the service after you showed me your magic. Kind of is trying to find the words slightly. You expressed perhaps a slight interest to learn. Maybe I can just show you something for now.
I am always open to such things.
Good. I have something to ask you after this as well, but for now, and you see he pulls out that roll of cloth you saw previously that he put those 4 neat cubes into and rolls them out between you and him on the edge of this building.
He's sitting down, is he?
He's sitting down. His legs are kind of over the edge of this building.
Okay. I think Ailey sort of she descends. She kind of she bends her legs and descends into like a cross-legged sit,
Sure.
but like without without using her hands. She just appears to sort of sink into a, like
Sure.
with her rope, you kind of just.
So he's brought out these cubes. He says, you expressed some interest in these previously. We call these carving stones, or at least that was the name that was taught to me.
I've seen one of the things they do.
So far as we're aware, that is the only thing they do. The Eaters, in their time, had dominion over all Earth, not in the sense of a king, but in the sense of ruling the Earth itself. It obeyed their whims, and they could move and reform it into whatever they desired. And these things here, and he kind of almost like habitually lays them out into the neat kind of 4 points of a square that he did previously, although you see he doesn't begin to make the gestures and say the words that he did when he first used them. And these briefly give us a window into that dominion, a level of control upon the Earth. It's a simple tool, but it takes a while to master, to understand how you are influencing the territory you create with these things.
Can I step out of character for a second?
Yeah.
What is Ailey's relationship to the Eaters as... Because I have this understanding that they were in Dwerinish and elsewhere... Well, in Dwerinish specifically, they worship sort of the statues that are Eater technology. Like, they worship these machines that they think of as sort of embodying deities because of maybe the magic they once did, or perhaps still do, or perhaps don't.
So your relationship to the Eaters then maybe...
Then are the Eaters, right? Are they like earlier gods, titanic beings beyond understanding, or just men who gave rise to something?
Oh no, so you understand absolutely that the Eaters are deities. They are divinity beyond mortal people like you.
And that's just like, it's not contested by anyone. That's just a fact.
No one you've encountered.
Okay.
Particularly in the circumstances of your upbringing. So if you are kind of have an animist approach, you may view it that it could be that you view these things as kind of almost like cairns for the souls of the Eaters, or the kind of the magic of the Eaters. Some remainder of gods.
There's one question then as well. Sure. I, as a player, conceive of the Eaters as humanity before some technological fall.
Sure.
Does Ailey think of them as beings who were once human, or are they like spirits?
I mean, you think that they were kind of flesh and blood, but in the way that like Gilgamesh was flesh and blood.
Or Vishnu.
Sure.
Vishnu had a body, but was arguably not human.
Yeah,
even
like
though
that.
He had
like,
4 limbs.
They were physically real. They walked the earth, but their nature was such that they had these powers and created these things that would separate them from ordinary mortal folk. Does that answer your question?
I think so, because that makes me think that like Ailey wouldn't think of these as being sort of comprising the Eaters. I think she's aware of the idea that devices might be left by them as sort of tools or gifts, because that's what she thinks wizards do.
Yeah, you might understand this is
like
a splinter from the cross.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he's laying these out. Would you like to have a look? It kind of indicates if you want to pick them up or anything.
So Ailey sort of she reaches out very delicately and just sort of, she doesn't pick one up. She just kind of lays her fingers on it.
Sure.
And so she has tech spellcasting powers. What does that do for me in a sort of non-mechanical? Like, can I interact with them or sense them, or do I have to sort of know a particular mechanism?
You need to know the steps in the way that in ordinary 5th edition you need to know like what to say and the gestures to make to cast a spell. You can't just pick up spellcasting with them. But you're free to like use an Arcana check if you want to try to understand them, comprehend them. Currently running your hand over them, they have a feeling of almost like perfectly smooth glass, and you can kind of see there's perhaps a faint, with the firelight cast from the soldiers' camp. You can perhaps see there's a certain faintness to the definition, that there's maybe just a thin bit of light permeating through kind of the edges of these things, as if they were a very, very, almost opaque black glass.
That's a 16 Arcana.
Okay. Looking over these things, I mean, you don't gather, like, in terms of physical, their physical qualities, anything more than that.
Can I whisper a little mantra to one of them?
Yeah.
Not like a particular mantra, but sort of hold one up to my... And just sort of whisper a few words in the Holy Tongue.
Sure. I will have that carry over your 16 Arcana. You pick one up and you whisper your words, and you do see the brief flickering of some red glyph in the corner of this thing, and also on all the 3 other cubes as well. They all at the same time flicker this thing, just kind of for a moment sparkles, and then it's gone.
How interesting.
Nookh says, I don't think they're going to obey you that easily. The words, the gestures, they matter greatly. It's taken the Wizards of Behel 1,000 lifetimes to encroach only as little as we have upon the divinity of the Eaters, but...
I'm no great scholar, but they do recognise the words of my own master.
Well, the Eaters all spoke in one tongue. They weren't divided like the peoples are now. They all had one language shared amongst all, across all of the earth. The true language, true speech, we call it. And we have defined what we can over time, but we know so little.
Is it?
But I will say, you notice, you've got a sense of a Nookh at this point. Saying when he says we know so little, you think that he doesn't say that with an intonation of like, sadness. There's nothing negative in that. If anything, he seems to enjoy that there's more things to discover. You think?
Oh, sort of like you climb the first mountain and you look across the range and you say, "We've only come a small way of the journey."
Is Ailey saying that?
Fun rather than that kind of thing, right? Like,
does Ailey say that, or?
No, I'm trying to get understanding.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
I have a question though. When it says I can speak mantra,
yes,
that doesn't mean I can express myself in normal conversation.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. Mantra isn't a language. It's, you have to say a specific series of intonations. Like specific sentences of mantra. It's not something you can use like a language.
But it was like I couldn't say address him with it now, unless I just said a particular phrase of power.
Yeah, I mean you could say that, but it wouldn't. You wouldn't understand it in any sense of a language.
And I don't understand its meaning. I just know that it does a thing.
You just know it empirically. Cool.
Interesting. And so I will ask him. I will ask him if he knows any of the true speech.
Yes, I've gathered some words in my time, but they're not things that should be said lightly. But
even so, I should like to hear such a secret.
Give me a persuasion check.
Okay. So I rolled a 3, and I'm going to spend my inspiration to re-roll it.
Sure thing.
And I rolled a crit.
Okay. You recall our time on the mountainside, my ministrations upon the soil with these, indicating to the 4 cubes. Aum and Thatum are two core words. North and south. The beginning of a marking of 4 points to create the basis of many spells, we believe. There's a curiosity to these, though, that we have recorded, or at least Wizards of the Past recorded, that Aum Thatum, north and south, is not the same as the north and south of other regions. It is words of true speech important to the region, a magic that only exists within Alakfazi.
How strange. And do I think that these words sound anything like the words of mantra?
I mean, there might be a similarity in sound, yeah. But I don't know if you'd be able to make any kind of particular connections that would have any.
Well, so it's more like Ailey is feeling a similar question as I am, as to whether or not the mantra is spoken in the true speech.
I would say you don't know enough to know at this point.
Yes, well, exactly. And so, but she's trying to. She's wondering if there's a connection between the two, and that's why she was interested in learning the words.
Sure, definitely possible. I will put that there. It's hard to tell because mantra is just a string of syllables. There's no there's not particularly spaces as you understand them. But you think if you learn more, then definitely you could be able to pick out parts that are discrete words. He goes, I think that is enough to tell you for now. Magic is something that you have to take your time with. Has repercussions for those who approach it with haste. But
I can tell you a thing, now that you have told me a thing.
Please.
The alchemist offered me a bribe to spy on you.
He kind of smiles. What did he offer you?
I cannot easily be bought, and I fear he is not skilled in persuading such as I.
The alchemist is
He tried also a threat, but
the alchemist is a small man, and I don't mean in size. His belief is that you have to be the reed and bend with the wind. But I believe that if you bend with the wind, you break, you're snapped on, you're nothing. You don't grow.
And what would you do in the storm?
Behel would be the tree that stands and weathers. You understand?
And you are Behel? Or what can one smaller do?
Behel is something that is shaped by those who hold it, not a thing unto itself. In truth, it is something I have come here to help shape. I want to share a story with you, if that is all right.
I am very fond of stories.
Do you know the tale of Khan Moz? You're not from these lands. You're not at fault if you don't. Khan Moz was, by all accounts, a wise and noble Khan, and a great warrior too. So when his army marched upon Eban and the evil monks who dwelt there, he offered their leader single combat to resolve the conflict, to spare the lives of all others assembled, despite Khan Moz commanding such a greater army that he could easily have won with combined might. And yet Khan Moz lost. He lost the fight. The arts of the monks were strange and deadly. And ultimately no conflict was prevented. The monks of Aban won that day, and many years later, when they had been able to work their evil arts for a terrible period, Moz's daughter, the Kanut Yota, razed Aban to the ground and killed all their number against her father's wishes. For Moz had said that the winner of the bout would be able to live freely, walk away the victor of the battle.
Let him live.
My question to you is, what do you think of the actions of Moz? He fought in a way that was honourable, and yet the world around him didn't honour his wishes, and his soldiers disobeyed his command. Ultimately, because of Moz's actions, more people died than would have if he had simply fought with all of his might on that day. What do you think of this story? What do you think of the actions of Moz?
Moz kept his word. This is an odd choice for one in such a commanding situation.
Well, Moz had no choice to keep his word. He died.
Well, then how can he be blamed for what comes after? His daughter worked against him. But he can be blamed because he... Moz hobbled himself out of some conception that was placed on him by his weaker opponent. This was a mistake. But it is not a mistake to have a daughter who, years after you are in the grave, forgets you and betrays you.
He kind of smiles, a slight kind of devilish grin to your words. Because I like that answer. Look here, and he kind of indicates for you to kind of bring your head closer, and he points his finger out across this field of tents and these soldiers drinking and eating, and towards the colourful epicenter, and says, just turn your head that way. Do you see it? And after you kind of tilt yourself slightly, looking and looking, eventually you see this faint spherical shimmer, a place where light is out of step with reality, forming a dome, almost invisible, over the tallest and most colourful tent at the centre of this place.
Right.
You see that?
Is it a curse or a protection?
It's magic, but it's weak magic. I suspect it's the reed bending in the wind, so to speak. I think I might have... Sorry?
What do they fear?
I think they fear what I might do, and I think it's time to bring your friends into the fold, as it were. It turns out I do have need of them. And he packs up his little cubes, rolls them up, and begins to come down off the top of this thing.
As he goes to fold them up, I want to put my hand on his as he's folding them up and say,
romantic. Yeah.
I've seen these. Yeah, but it's
no, I'm joking. Sorry, I'm just taking a piss. Sorry.
And I say, I've seen these tear rock and stone. What could they do to men and horses and fortifications?
What they would provide in visceral cruelty, unfortunately, they lack in expediency. You recall that it did take quite a while of gesturing and speaking to these things for them to begin their effect. But crueler wizards have tried. Don't worry. He steps off the top of this thing. Do you follow?
Yes. But I say also, then what do they fear? You have some other trick?
I have many tricks. Come on. I need to talk. That
was a weird first date, but it was kind of sexy.
I like it.
He indicates to the door to the building you're staying in. If you could. You open it. He comes in. All of you look round. Hello, everyone. It's my understanding there's been some uncertainty as to the purpose you were brought here. While it was primarily protection on the road, there is a second possible use that now you may fulfill. I will not force it upon any of you, but I do have need of your aid. The land of Al-Ahfazi is in peril, and I do not expect any of you to have any loyalty to it, but you can trust in the promises that my master has made to you. I must meet with Moder Raidford, and I must do so tonight. I am not desired, I suspect not permitted. I may even be, they may have even been warned of someone such as me approaching. And I may be I am in need of the aid of people prepared to do bold things to get what they need to make my way.
Okay.
Lox kind of looks to you, Barney. He goes,
I look to Lox.
Lox goes, well, I'm always up for a fight. Kind of reaches a hand over to the meteor sword. Nookh will say, I'm afraid that secrecy is a necessity here. My passage should remain unnoticed. But my understanding is all of you have skills beyond violence that could help.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I'm not someone who makes their way with other people often. So, what plans you have, I'm not sure how much I can contribute, but I'd very much like it if all of you could help me make my way through the fairground of soldiers outside to the center.
So I heard the word help, and I understand that. But maybe be more specific about exactly what you want us to do.
There are soldiers eating, night guards watching, perhaps even stranger folk besides, keeping an eye out. I need to make my way through. I'm not sure of all of your specific abilities, Barney. I know your skill with the sword as well as Lox, but I know you also have an affinity for animals and so on.
I do.
So just to kind of step back for a minute, I'm kind of making apologies within the narrative for why Ilek can't just tell you all what to do. But as sorry, did I say Ilek? Nookh. As Nookh explains, he essentially needs to infiltrate this area and then exfiltrate it. And you have to go into the mechanics here. I'm going to need you to devise how it is you as a group or as individuals will be attempting to go through this place. Anyone is fine to back out if they don't want their character to be involved in this. That's fine. You weren't asked to do this. To break down the mechanics, what you're going to need is we're doing a gauntlet where essentially you're going to tell me what you do at each kind of layer of this place to help Nookh and anyone with him slip through, kind of avoiding the troubles there. You can aid each other in that endeavor. You need to get through kind of the three layers, as it were, to get to Moder's tent. You can help each other. Trying all of you to get through will get very difficult. You're a large group. You're conspicuous. But I will say, though, the soldiers out here, they haven't posted a perimeter. I mean, there's enough of them they don't really need to. So there's nothing to say that you can't approach these soldiers casually, kind of at the outer layer, as it were. It's just that if you start walking through this place and start going towards where all the important people are, you could be stopped or possibly attacked. So you as a group are free to discuss and devise how it is you're going to be infiltrating this place, and then
it's like Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Am I like, I've been dragged around by this crew for so long. Am I going to be the random army soldier people, would they recognize me? Am I like a face that they would have seen?
They might do. It's a possibility. I mean, some of them will have seen the retinue with Moda at some point, so they might recognise you. They might not. I mean, but them recognise you isn't necessarily bad. They might go, "Hey, I heard you left. You still around?" You know. I mean, you may have some points kind of snuck out to have a few drinks with more ordinary.
The gang.
Yeah.
Presumably, you speak their language and such, and their jargon.
Yeah, you'll understand their military jargon, their Thippian dialect, those kind of things. The way we're going to approach this is we're going to be doing it that you can kind of retroactively plan things. So right now you are just about to go and try to get through the kind of the first layer of this place, and you can step back and say, "Oh, I think we would have planned this. I think we would have planned that," rather than it be you plan everything out and then we go in and then one thing goes wrong and the whole thing unspools.
Oh no, we're gonna die.
So
it's gonna be good.
Hi, Shannon. What's up?
Hey, Liam.
Hey, Shannon.
I think Corellia would ask if any of this is going to affect Desiro. Like, if we fuck up here, does that mean we're going to get other Nooks bad
Do you mean Illic?
looks? Yeah.
Step out for a second. I'll be back in a moment.
Sure. Nookh will say, "I'm sure my master." No, he doesn't say that. Sorry. My master has his attention pulled in many directions right now, and should I not manage to meet with Moda Rayfort, it may be that he is unable to devote much energy soon to the task you've set for him.
A nice little bit of blackmail. Okay, I'll help.
I look to Locks as if to go, "Are we doing this?"
Locks goes, "What do you want me to do?" Both to kind of Barney and Nookh. But yeah, I'll let you make kind of Lox's kind of core decisions here. I mean, she's very conspicuous. Although she's not actually bad at stealth, actually. I think she might have a +6 to stealth.
Wait, for such a big
Let me get up the thing.
Borf.
A Borf.
Borf lady.
No, she's got stealth +5, actually. So she's fairly good.
Sweet.
Yeah, with her cat-like reflexes. So, what are your plans? We can dive right into it, and I can go round and say, what is it you're doing to try to get through this place, or help someone else get through this place, or you can discuss a bit beforehand.
Let's dive in.
All right.
I already have so many terrible ideas.
Brilliant.
Same.
We will go.
I'm gonna find me some lizards.
We'll go clockwise. So, Harry, what is Zurab's kind of first idea for trying to get through this place? And by the way, you don't have to travel as a group. You're free to split up. We can say that you've communicated beforehand. I mean, you've got Corellia's limited telepathy as well, might help. What is Zurab going to try to do here?
Can I previously moot this to the party as a ridiculous scheme?
Yes, yeah. We're saying here that all of these things have been discussed previously.
Listen, I know these people. I've lived with them, worked with them. Why don't we tie up one of you, pretend that they were some disgusting bandit? I have captured them, heard of some plot to Meta's life. Did I pronounce that wrong?
Moda Rayfort.
Moda, not Meda.
No.
Okay. Drag you in, and, we go from there.
That could bring Nookh right to the goal.
I have strong reason to believe that one of my charming wizard compatriots of Behel may have given some previous warning to people here. There's a possibility that I may end up kept further away than need be, and possibly disposed of based on how incensed certain parties were.
Listen, what is your goal? Conversation? Assassination?
Not assassination. No blood needs to be shed here. I want to be clear about that. But I have.
But a quiet chat is not what you're going to do.
Somewhat. Almost. It would be hard to explain without explaining a complex system of magic that I think is beyond our time frame here.
Here is a question. When you are done, will there be chaos? Will you be in danger? Will you need to escape? Or will you be friends?
If everything works, hopefully I can leave and no one will be any the wiser, no one will be harmed. If anything, if everything works, less harm will come at the end of this. But I have things I must keep secret, close to the chest at least.
I'm in.
So, what is Zurab doing, Harry?
I don't know whether I want to go through with this plan. It sounds incredibly stupid.
So Nookh sounds resistant to you tying him up.
Plan. That's a bad plan.
He thinks that tying him up could well see him handed over to people far away from Moda and possibly executed as well.
All right. Like I said, I know these people. I'm going to walk over there, make a massive noise with one of these guns. Hopefully guards will come running. I can talk my way out of it using my famous silver tongue. Meanwhile, you can sneak your way in.
Okay, I want to be clear, this is comparable to like Harry Potter saying I'm going to go into, like, walk up to people and fire my wand in the air. This is magical, to be clear. This isn't just a loud noise.
But they might have seen me with guns before, right?
No, these people have never seen guns before.
There's half a legion of people out there.
Well, at this stage, can't we just walk in?
Yeah, at this stage, can't we just make our way down?
Like, we don't need the distraction yet.
People may come up to you and say, what's going on here?
If the shit hits the fan, I will make the distraction. Zurab is now going to sneak in.
Okay.
Sneak.
Sneak.
I will try and speak to people about their camels.
Sure.
We are
distractions.
We are.
You thought we were fucked last time, but hey.
We very nearly were.
Remember?
So to explain the mechanics of what's happening here, basically either you're trying to sneak through with Nookh, or you're providing a benefit to someone who is.
Okay.
If you're...
I'm trying to sneak through with Nookh then.
Okay. You'll see that Nookh has said, I'm a bit used to sneaking about. You kind of have to get used to that, being in Behel. Do you know what you're doing, Zurab? I keep doing his voice supposed to be rougher. You know what you're doing, Zurab?
Yes, I was born sneaking about.
It must be a real weird birth.
Okay.
My mother did not even notice I had tried.
What is Shannon? What is Corellia going to try to do?
Just a puff of smoke, and he was gone.
Well, I think I should come with you as far as I can, and then I don't really know how I do it, but if you let me touch you, I can make you a little bit sneakier.
Nookh is getting all the action.
I would certainly appreciate that. I mean, you can. I think if you're using enhanced ability, you can do that preemptively.
Yeah, but it's concentration, so I want to leave my mind free for other things, and then do it like when I need to.
Sure. Okay. And so you're trying to sneak with them first. Okay.
Yeah.
And what, Grace? What is Ailey going to try to do?
So I have access to. I can change my own face, and I can't apply that to someone else. Is that right?
Yes.
You say that so casually.
Oh, by magic, it's not. As you say, I can't rearrange the body itself. I can also make silent illusion, so I could alter Zurab's appearance, or I could create some distraction that would have to be small. I also can interfere with technology and open very advanced doors, though I doubt you would find them here.
Please don't fuck around with my face. First off, it's perfect.
Not if I can help it.
But secondly, it might be the only thing that gets me out of being killed if someone recognizes me if we get caught.
I believe you can make yourself it's disguised self, right, that you have. I believe you can make yourself look like one of the soldiers here.
Well, it's called stolen skin when you've given it to me here.
Yeah. You have a slightly different version, don't you? But
everything about Ailey is so scary.
I think if you are near one of the soldiers for like a minute, you can make yourself look like one of them.
That's cool.
Yes, that's true.
I have a very long neck.
Yes.
Amazing.
I can scope. I can just. That's my contribution.
Lox kind of laughs and says, "If we need to reveal our position, I'll lift you up and you can raise your neck, and we can then put our necks on the ground to be executed."
We have a fallback.
How aware are we as characters of Barnalect's interesting good luck?
You haven't noticed it yet. Jurab maybe suspects it slightly, possibly, based on an earlier conversation, but no, that's it.
So we can't raise that. I don't know how aware Barnalect is of it himself.
He's not. So what is it Grace is doing? Because you can kind of, we can add some more complexity to the first bit of you saying like, oh, I approach as, and then you try to get their skin, go back, and then come back appearing as someone else if you want.
I could. Did you say that it appears like the outer part of the camp can be entered by outsiders?
So looking at it, like you could just walk up. Jurab is conscious that there's a possibility of someone recognizing him, which may be good, maybe bad. And Nookh appears to be slightly concerned that people may have been warned about him. In which case there's a possibility of him being recognized. Nookh plans to sneak his way in. He doesn't plan to be seen.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't plan to be seen at all?
Well, by you lot, but by no one else.
Yes. And I still have the problem that I don't change how I sound.
No, I don't believe you do.
So it would be awkward to impersonate such a being.
You have to talk.
I'm checking.
I imagine in like
other magic I have access to.
Sorry, what were you saying, Shannon?
In a group of this size, if you just impersonated one random soldier, they wouldn't necessarily, recognize them.
Yes, but
Okay.
if they're trying to move unseen, I don't see the purpose of changing how I look. I do have an aspect of my sacred territory, but it rather requires that we be left alone completely, and I don't think it applies here.
Sacred territory is quite ostentatious. Oh, actually, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. I don't believe you can move.
But the problem is that it's actually rather too large for this. So another time, perhaps.
So what is
there is another
doing?
option, of course, which
Someone's got a lot of clapping in the
my brother has no subtlety and doesn't realise I'm still on screen. There is another option, and that would be to cause a distraction of a rather more significant kind.
As I say, I was really hoping to just be unnoticed by anyone doing this. Perhaps as a last-ditch distraction. Perhaps.
So I've got a mechanics question.
Go ahead.
So say we have to roll stealth to get to the next level.
If you're just sneaking in, you're just making a stealth.
But with that, the barrier we need to, what's it called? The
DC?
Yeah, would that increase the more of us go?
Yeah, basically, it's increased by more of you trying to sneak and decreased by some of you providing means to conceal others.
Okay.
I can use my silent image to create barriers or obfuscations to something you attempt. If I can enter the first the outer reaches of the camp under the claims of religious travel, because I do know some things of their bizarre and unsightly religion, enough to at least claim some formalities of hospitality. Once within, I could cover Nookh's movements with image or obfuscation when he makes some critical effort.
Okay. So does everyone know what it is they're trying to do? Actually, we need to figure out what Lox is doing as well. Lox is going to look to
Possibly
Barney.
Lox is staying home.
Barney, what do you think? Shall I stick with you, or
Stick with me, Lox.
all right?
We'll do some sneaky sneaks and then provide distractions if we need to.
Okay, so to be clear, is Barney going to try to sneak through the first kind of layer of this thing, or are you trying to? Are you going to go talk about their camels?
I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow them, but like adjacent almost, and then if I notice anything is going south, I'm gonna like jump ahead of them and be like, "What amazing camels you have!"
Sure. Okay, so you're helping them sneak. Okay. So
providing
shall we say
distractions
first
and
then
sneaking
that
in.
Barnelect and Ailey approach this place. So to be clear, Grace, is Ailey approaching to kind of talk to them in a religious capacity?
So Ailey would like to approach, and she would like to present herself as aware of the religion of Thype and aware of the power of Thype, and wishing to make a connection to learn about to make a connection to their religion.
Okay, cool, great. Okay, so we'll say that
I would invoke my feature formalities of the faith.
Sure. So we'll say that first Ailey and Barnelect and Lox are approaching in the open. You see, as you walk into this camp, a drunken soldier kind of stumbles out from between two tents, having had a piss, and kind of blearily regards you two, and then stumbles back at the size of Lox. Just goes, and you move through to an area where some of these soldiers are encamped. You do see a few hands kind of gently go over to sheaths as Lox approaches. What do you say to these people?
Good evening, gentlemen. We're just on our way through.
One of them, kind of an authority figure amongst them, will go, "Can I help you, please? You have approached our site. Who are you, strangers? You bring a monk with you, but I do not recognize the robes."
Well,
I come from the far south and west.
Ah.
I have much to learn, I think, from the great civilization of Thype and their solar wisdom.
So we can say at this point, if you want, that Ailey goes into the kind of the religious kind of formalities to kind of request to meet with someone. This soldier will say, "There's a priest who travels with us. I can introduce you if you wish. But you two, Dromed, and I do not know your kind," indicating to Lox. Why are you here? Are you?
I have a particular interest in livestock and animals, and I just wanted to check and see that they were doing okay. I won't charge. Just
I want to be clear. That Barney himself knows how suspect that sounds, right? I just want to be clear what you sound like saying, "I want to come up and look at your pack animals,
and make sure they're okay." And I've also come to trade.
Sure. This soldier looks confused. He goes, "You have come to trade livestock?"
I just want to. Yes, I've got some particular livestock back and in my quarters, and was just wanted to take a look if you were and see if you were interested.
I do not think we are an army. We do not have an interest in trading with you. But
Okay,
give me a
you're missing out.
Give me a persuasion check.
Here we go.
Oh,
What's that? A 19. Persuasion 24.
he goes. What is it you're selling? Perhaps I can speak to some more important people who may be interested.
I'm selling many things, but I think what might interest you is, and I pull out the stick of cinnamon that I was given by Miriam.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I go, have you seen one of these before?
Is this tree bark? Is it medicine or?
Yes, well, you would think, and I'm like tossing it like from like.
Oh, you doing like little like coin tricks and stuff?
Yeah, one would think that this is just an ordinary piece of tree bark. However, give it a sniff. I like run it across his. I run it under his nose.
Okay, he kind of sniff. It's quite. I mean, like sniffing like from a stick of cinnamon is quite sharp.
It's not like right under his nose. It's like I'm wafting it.
He goes, "Oh, you are a spice trader. I've not smelled this before."
Ah, yes, I am indeed the trader of spice.
Oh, perhaps I have someone who may be interested in this. I can go fetch them if you wish.
That would be great.
Okay.
Shit.
You priest. I will bring our religious representative here to speak with you. That soldier goes off.
Fuck. I'm screwed the poop.
I'm going to do the first round of stealth checks as everyone else tries to sneak in with Nookh. So can those who are sneaking with Nookh give me your stealth checks? Sorry, Shannon.
Can I say that as I'm going with him, if I get the sense that someone's about, I see someone about to turn, can I use telekinetic grasp to, maybe knock over a bag of flour, something like little, but something that would just make you just for a second.
Sure, I will. Okay, you can. All right, I'll take that into consideration for the DC.
Very wise, Shannon. Very wise.
Oh, shucks.
Tell you what, as you
like
know,
me.
Can you give me a just give me a check using your spellcasting ability modifier?
Yes, I can. I got a 14.
Okay, 14. So that's I say for now that's going to be enough for kind of a one-time use where you can have someone re-roll a stealth check if it's particularly bad.
Okay.
But you think you're not going to be able to be keen on that while keeping an eye on everyone like forever throughout this whole thing.
Okay.
So if Karelia, Zurab, and Nookh are sneaking in, can you all give me stealth checks, please?
Yes.
Got a 22.
Ooh,
21.
very nice.
Wow. That's good.
21, and Nookh got a 16. So, yeah, that's easily high enough at this point with Barnlecht and Ailey giving a bit of distraction to the soldiers here. I mean, you are oddities,
Yeah, guys.
You begin to slip your way through this place, kind of ducking between tents, avoiding slightly drunken soldiers, staying at what you can kind of tell where the lights are by the smoke that's kind of rising into the sky, and you stay away from any of the fires. Meanwhile, this soldier, who you notice does have a few embellishments to their equipment, so you think is a kind of a figure of authority amongst these soldiers, does return. You see two people. One of them, you can immediately tell, Barnlecht, you've seen this type before, that your typical puffed up minor noble. Someone who has almost no station amongst the elite, but just that little bit makes them a kind of a wannabe tyrant. Flanked by these two kind of perfumed and slightly overdressed guards, this person has a kind of a puffed up chest, and you see their proud Thippian trunk kind of curls up in with an inquisitive look towards you as you approach. Beside them is a priest. This person has this kind of flowing yellow robe with a kind of a stiff collar that behind them holds a large flat yellow disc of cloth, slight bits of golden thread put through it. reflecting the sun they worship. First, the priest, I think, will approach Ailey and say, "Hello, you are a priest visiting, and will be interested in our religion regarding the sun." Kind of regards the soldiers, sniffs slightly disdainfully. Perhaps you'd be interested in retiring to more civilized circumstances.
You are muted.
You're muted, Grace.
I say that would be most welcome. And I look towards Locks and Barnlake, and I say, I've spent too long in the company of rough persons.
This priest kind of swans around, says, I can sympathize having to bring the religion to those who cannot really comprehend it. It's a difficult task, of course. And begins to kind of glide through this camp. Although, as they come to a smaller tent, not too far away, you think this person isn't actually particularly significant. This tent is kind of at the border between kind of the next layer of tents, as it were, of kind of the more noble ones. This person is just a kind of a priest. They're not anyone particularly high up on the religious hierarchy here. There may be more around here. You don't know. You don't know if this person is the only religious authority here. But I would say, actually, given your intellect, you probably suspect this person isn't the highest person on the hierarchical chain of religious representatives here, but it's the person who's been got for you. Meanwhile, this noble approaches Barnlect. Goes,
Good evenings. It is evening, isn't it?
Oh, it is evening, yes.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. Extends a hand for you to kiss, a kind of a few silver rings upon it. You are familiar with this custom. Brilliant. I tell you, you are spice traders and visiting something interesting to trade, perhaps.
Yes. Well, you see, I have been out here all day trading spices to the many, and now I return with my last piece to deliver to the few, which I believe is you. And I would just like.
Can I ask? Are you holding this small piece of cinnamon bark here?
Oh yes.
Okay. He laughs. Goes. I sure hope there's a lot more than this, of course, for your last piece. He interprets you saying, "Oh, my last bit," as like, "Oh, my last few crates," or something, or "my last bag." Goes kind of laughs at the joke of, "Oh, like as if this would be my last bit." Please, would you like to come with me and we can conduct business? I always, my tent is always open to the Dromads. Fantastic traders, so valuable to our empire.
That's great. I look at Locks as if to gauge whether or not this is this. Are we gonna do this? Are we?
Locks looks at you with sheer panic. I can't kill these people. I don't think so. I don't know what to do. Should I ask? Has Locks brought her sword? It's pretty menacing.
I think she has.
Okay.
But it's she's.
You probably couldn't stop her, could you?
No. Well, the noble will, as you begin to move, perhaps run a hand along Locks' arm and go, "Oh, who's this wondrous creature? A sword. So interesting.
Everyone's
Who's this?
doing seduction.
Your guard, perhaps."
This is my esteemed colleague, Locks.
Oh, a merchant as well. I would not tell from the giant sword she is carrying. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, she deals more with the physical side of the business.
Of course, bandits and the like on the road. Okay. You begin to move into this place as well and are taken to another tent. You're a bit further in than where Ailey has stopped. As this person takes you into a fairly large tent, this kind of sea green colour, and you see this banner flies with two crossed, what you think might be fish, and then, of course, the seven-feathered plume above it. Servants scuttle about, roll out carpet for you to sit, and two bowls of water are placed in front of you and this noble. and locks as well. A servant comes and pours water into your bowls, and another puts out their hands for you to provide water in the water ritual for this noble.
Oh, yes.
You share.
Yes.
Live and drink, Tormed, and drinks. But
I have a slight question.
Yeah.
How much of a distraction is this?
Well, I mean, like you can see out the door, but you've kind of stepped in it, right? Because you're like, I'm here to trade spice. So they're like, oh, okay, well, let's trade some spice then.
I think it's a distraction from where this session was heading.
It's definitely a spin-off series where...
Let's do what's happening with Ailey. So this person kind of comes in. Oh, this priest provides a seat for your little stool and sits themselves and goes, so how much are you aware of the religion of Thype, the worship of the sun?
So I'm going to outline the things that I know from my earlier check.
Sure.
Sort of this idea of the sun being the progenitor of all the holy spirits.
Okay. Can I ask, what is Ailey's objective here? Because you get that you're kind of slightly getting possibly separated from the people trying to sneak in here, which may cause problems. It might give you an alibi. You don't know. What is your objective ultimately of this conversation?
Planning.
Sorry?
Given our retroactive planning,
sure.
My intention was to get into a deeper section of the camp,
sure,
by gaining the trust of this person and hopefully being introduced to some higher up.
Okay.
I mean, initially I'd hoped to be that their tent was within the next layer, but if I can persuade them to introduce me
for the sake of expediency,
the purpose of being able to cover some difficult maneuver of Nookh using silent image.
Sure. Can you give me a religion check then, just to expediently go through, see how well you're interacting?
Do I gain bonus from my earlier high result?
You kind of were speaking to a different person then, so actually, you mean your... Actually, yeah, no, I'll say on your 25 history check on Thype, yeah, I'll give you advantage on the religion check here.
Solid. Right. Get my other d20. I rolled a 4 and a 12, which is not great. Let me check my religion skill. Oh, +5 is 17.
17, okay. You begin to talk to this person and... you convey religious interests and clearly enough knowledge that you convey a certain amount of respect for their faith, but also, someone who wants to learn more. The subject is broached of possible, religious interaction between Dwer Inish and the Thipian sun worship. Nothing in any kind of official long-term capacity, but would you like to speak with one of our sages to perhaps gauge areas where the faiths connect, as it were? This person you think is someone who administers the faith, as it were. Sorry,
I indicate very eagerly that I would be pleased to carry a message from a sage back to my masters.
Okay, they seem very interested and pleased by that. Sam, what is Barnelect's... Lox is flying blind here, so she's going to follow your cue. What is Barnelect's ambitions for this conversation? This person smelling this... Oh, it's an interesting smell. What do you call this? They're intrigued by what you're offering, giving you a good persuasion to carry that over. What is your objective here?
It was originally to just cause a distraction, but now I'm completely in. I'm completely out inside a tent, like not offering any distraction. So now I'm starting to think, how do I get out of here?
Sure. Okay. So you can you are free to say, oh, my objective for this conversation is just to excuse myself. Like you can say oh, sorry, I don't think I've got the spy you want or something and leave. Or you can say hey, why don't we live it up or something. You can try to create another circumstance from this.
Yeah, I'm going to try and
slowly ease my way out of the conversation and back out into the street and see whether or not I can sneak further in.
Okay, give me a persuasion check.
Okay.
Give me a good one.
A real good one. Come on. I think it's 23.
Okay, 23. By the way,
Persuasion,
you might want to bring
23.
your fortunate son in here. I just want to say that now. It's too late now, but
Yeah.
23. Okay, you are charming this person, and you quickly begin to kind of tease from them. I mean, you kind of recall seeing other people do this on the road. You tease out of them how much it is they're looking for, and then begin to make excuses that you simply do not have the supply they need. So sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, this could have worked so well. Please come back through this way again. I will be trading these wares in the future. How terrible. I don't think I'll be coming this way for quite a while, but, please, you seem to know where you're going. Your bodyguard can take care of you. Would you like one of my guards to escort you from the premises? No, I can go myself. And then you...
Yeah.
I will say you leave this tent and you have a kind of a window of free reign where you could try to slip into sneaking about this place if you want.
I shoot a quick look to Lox as if to go, okay, are we on our way? Are we going? Are we?
Lox is following your cue here. Lox knows how to fight, and not much else.
Let's go. We're going in.
Okay. I've rolled a luck check for you. As you come out of this tent, you do spot and lock eyes with Zurab as he sneaks down an alleyway between two things, and you know where each other is. I rolled a nat 20 on your luck there.
Yes.
You're doing that. Ailey is meanwhile elsewhere, being taken out and taken towards a sage. You're now at the next layer. What is it you're doing here? It is going to be very difficult if all of you are going to try to stealth through here and not do anything to provide distraction. And I will say it's a lot easier to kind of make a distraction and then get out of this place than it is to go in. So you're at liberty to say like, oh, I do this to make a distraction, and then I have to break away from the group or something. So Harry, first, what is Zurab doing to help with the infiltration, or are you just trying to sneak?
I think I'm just going to try and sneak.
Okay.
With Nookh.
That's cool.
I think I'm the best sneaker.
Can I see Harry?
Yeah, you've locked eyes with Zurab as he heads down an alley. You're not like walking with each other, but you know where each other is.
Excellent.
I look back and my gaze conveys the sentiment of like, I bet you fucking asked to touch their animals, didn't you? You weirdo.
Shannon, what is Corellia doing?
Is it like you asked to touch their animals and you're still alive?
Shannon.
Do it free of charge.
Right, hold on, Harry, come on. Shannon, what's Corellia doing?
He is a lovely boy.
Harry, what's your sneaky modifier?
6. Isn't this a bit metagaming?
No, this is fine.
I just wanted to compare it to my own.
No, it's absolutely fine for you to like know which. Like at this point, you can gauge who's better at kind of doing this than the other.
What's yours, Shannon?
5. So I think
I'm the best at sneaking.
We're pretty close. Would it be possible to do 2 things in one turn, as in cast minor pyromancy and cast enhance ability, or could I not do that?
No, I'll allow that. Those like enhance ability is not conspicuous, so you could do that and then do whatever it is you want to do with minor pyromancy.
Oh, I thought I would have to do it in the other order because it's concentration.
Oh, sure. Whatever. I'm not fussed. Yes, I'm going to say well, because one of them is not conspicuous. That's fine.
Okay. I think I would want to set fire to something that's not like, I don't want to set this camp ablaze. Like I want a little fire that people are going to be like, oh no, a fire, and they'll turn to it. But I don't want this to be a massacre.
Sure. Okay. You want to start a fire? Brilliant. Fire famously easy to control. And then you want to cast enhance ability.
I want to cast enhance ability on Nookh and give him the dexterity one.
Sure. So he's making stealth checks on advantage now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I convey that with a forehead kiss. So.
But you give Nookh a forehead. He blushes. No, he doesn't. He seems kind of confused, but then like kind of flexes and feels kind of like, oh, okay. Sure. So that is going.
And then I'm away. Then I'm gone.
Yeah, that's assuming you have to stay to do this to cast fire or something. Can you give me a check using your spell attack modifier, just to see how well you can kind of have something catch a blaze and be conspicuous enough, but also not so large to be a danger.
Okay, so that's charisma plus proficiency, right? Spell attack.
Yes, it is. Yes, I believe it's +7 for you.
Oh, 17.
17. Okay, great. Yeah, sure. I'm going to say you kind of there's a brazier here, and you reach out and you just kind of feel the fire in it, and then put your power into it, and it suddenly blazes up and scatters to the ground and puts blazing coals across, begins to catch the edges of some boards. A few cries go up around, and people begin to draw away from where Zurab and Nookh are. Sam, what is Barnlect and Lox doing here? They can both try to sneak if they want, but that might be quite difficult for both of you, or one of you can try to make a distraction for the other. What are you doing?
I'm going to sneak. We're both going to sneak.
Okay.
We're both going to sneak.
Sure thing.
Why not? Let's give it a crack.
And Ailey is coming through this place. You've all got here so far. All right, except for Carillia is now dropping out. So, can we have stealth checks from everyone except for Carillia now?
Am I stealthing?
Am I rolling?
Am I rolling? And Ailey as well. Ailey, I don't need stealth checks from you because you're being led through with someone official.
Shall I roll for Lox as well?
I'll roll for Lox.
Okay.
Ooh. Good thing you gave Nookh advantage there. He rolled a 4 on the first one, but a 16 on the next.
I rolled before I cast Fortunate Son balls.
I'll let you retroactively do it because you remembered it at least immediately after.
1, 2, 3, and it's a plus D4, isn't it? So that was 11, and I'll roll the D4.
Okay, Locke's got an 18.
It's 3, 11, 14, and stealth 14. I've got 18.
18, okay. And what did Zurab get, Harry?
That's a 25.
Very nice. Oh, I hope that luck's not about to run out.
Don't say that.
Okay. Nookh and Zurab, you are shadows moving through this place, but unfortunately, Lox and Barney, you're not quite shadows. You do stumble over a few things. No one catches you, but you are constantly kind of almost leaning out of alleys right into the face of a night guard and pulling back. The security is getting tight here. At the performance you're doing, if you keep going in, you're going to get caught.
Okay.
Given that you don't have anyone providing distractions for you. Ailey, you come through, you're led into a larger place where there's a kind of a strange collection of peoples, and these large, heavy, leather-bound books are stored in trunks, and you're eventually brought to this one sage, this kind of hunched, wizened figure, very old, older than most ever make it. Just because we haven't got a huge amount of time, you've made it to this point. What is Ailey's objective here? This person begins to speak about the law, about how the sun, was cast upon the barren earth, and then from there, the eaters came, and then they fashioned the light itself into the elements, and then so on and so on and so on. What is Ailey's objective? You're still muted, by the way.
All I said was if not.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, you can think about it a bit if you want, or...
Well, I was wondering about using my sacred territory to create some sort of religious display that might cause not panic, but like great interest in a way that might cause a moving of people or a disruption.
Okay, I will say, so using magic, particularly with religious people, is kind of playing with fire, because there's a possibility they might say, you are being a heretic by touching stuff that you are outside of the religious justification for using, or you're showing them. So I'm going to have you make a religion check to justify you using this stuff.
Yes, sort of like religious bluff kind of thing.
Yeah, you've got to work their language to have them, perceive it as well and good that you're using this stuff.
Do I still have advantage because of my crit earlier?
You're talking with someone who knows this, whose job is to know this law. I don't think your knowledge gets you kind of to the priest who has to just administer the faith, but this person's job is specifically to know it, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. I'll make a roll then. 18 plus 5 is 23.
Okay, I'm going to say that you you successfully get to the point where there's enough of a connection between the Dwyer Inish faith and the sun worshipping faith of Thype. They, you find connections between the gods of, or the kind of the animist totems of Dwyer Inish and the minor deities that surround their sun worship. And you articulate it as almost as if Dwyer Inish is really just a kind of a far afield, extension of their religion, or indeed an extension of the sun's rays, because of course it shines brightest across Thype, doesn't light diminish and get obscured as it travels further. And you begin to weave this illusory display that quickly begins to draw interest, and looking to the priest and the sage, people see that they are permitted to enjoy this and come to delight in it, and word begins to spread, and surrounding people begin to come to observe the magic you're working. Very well done with that, I think. Sam, what's Barney and Lox up to?
Okay, so I turn to Lox and go, okay, Lox, we need to do a distraction. I would pretend to faint, but you are much bigger. I think if you feign a fainting, we could get a large group of people over here, and then we're good to go.
Lox will go, I don't think we're supposed to be here. If I faint, I'm likely to get arrested.
Well then, why are we here?
Stop shouting! Quiet.
Then why are we here?
I was following your lead. I don't know. I only know fighting.
Are there animals nearby?
I'm going to roll a luck for you. I rolled a 3.
Just a sniff.
I rolled a 3 for your luck roll to see if animals are nearby.
Okay, so that's a yes.
That's a no.
Okay. Well, okay, can we see them? Are they anywhere? Are they going more and more?
No, you have an idea of their area, but you don't know. You can't see them. You can't see Nookh and Zurab directly. No.
Okay, then I say we just hang in the shadows here until we wait and see if shit hits the fan.
I really think we should. I mean, I'm really big. I'm gonna get seen if I can stick around here.
Then what do we do? Do we just go back?
Okay. Lox is gonna go. Puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "You want to make it there, don't you, with these people?"
Yes.
Okay. And you see that she is going to. Very nice. Even nicer. Okay. She is going to spy one of these soldiers going past with a kind of amphora kind of held loosely in their hand, slight drunken slumber at their gait, and basically very quickly step out and snaps this thing out of their hand and pours it. What you quickly see is this kind of purplish wine over her head, and goes, "Whoa!" and starts to kind of act like some kind of horrible, like party douchebag, kind of like stumbling around drunk, and does a very convincing performance of a pisshead, who begins to kind of stumble around, yelling drunkenly. You perhaps briefly catch a glimpse where maybe she winks at you to like get the fuck out of here, and she begins to make a scene, and people are like, "How did you get here?" and all this stuff. Also like, "How did you get here? Get out of here!" That's so much Schwarzenegger. And she's just like, she's going around going, "I love the Thype Army. The drink is the best." And kind of feel like, "You're my friend," putting an arm over someone.
Great. I sneak off.
They think she's completely harmless currently on a very good performance check.
Excellent.
Okay,
I'm glad she's still alive.
Ailey's causing a big distraction. Barnlect is sneaking. Okay, so can I get stealth checks from Barnlect and Zurab? And I'm going to roll for...
Wait, again?
Yeah, you've got to get to the last bit. You're at the last leg of it now.
Fortunate.
Is this my final level 3 skill check?
This is fortunate.
Yeah, this is the final step. After this, if you succeed, you'll have got uncaught to the force tent.
24.
Woo.
Wow.
Remember, Nookh is rolling
yes,
on advantage.
yes.
And
Very lucky
that
there.
is 19. Wait. What does 19? Oh no, that's fight. That's fighting. Never mind. I got 19.
Okay. All right. There is a moment, Harry, where you're moving with Nookh, and he is looking in the wrong direction and stumbles over a crate and clatters to the ground and does give a for a moment. He quickly picks himself up, but you do definitely catch, like right round the corner, someone has heard this, had their interest piqued, and is going to be here in a matter of seconds. I'm going to give Zurab a kind of a split-second reaction to this. What did Barnlect get, by the way?
I got 19.
Oh, you're doing fine. And sorry, Zurab got... Harry?
24.
24. Okay, so Zurab and Barney are fine, but Nookh has just stumbled and alerted a guard.
He's the one that needs to go there.
Yeah, sorry, he got not quite a good enough roll there.
Fantastic rolls from me. And
I know.
Ruined by this idiot wizard thing.
But you have an opportunity to do some kind of reaction here. You're in a kind of an alleyway naturally formed between these tents. A crate has been knocked over, some storage. And he said, "Oof, it's been heard." But yeah. You can just run ahead. You can try to run through this and hopefully not be seen and round a corner before this person coming towards you sees.
No.
But that might raise alarm here. You don't know.
Don't worry. Meow.
Okay, so there's a clatter and an oof, and then you do a cat noise.
It was a cat. It was just a cat.
Okay, give me a
Performance
or animal handling, I guess.
Which is higher? Oh, they're both pretty low. Can I do animal handling?
Yeah, you can either or, I guess.
That's a 13.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
you do an unconvincing cat meow.
I don't have inspiration.
Okay, Nookh is going to have to burn one of his few spell slots now to see if he can try to stealth it, but you might be in serious effing trouble here. Let's see if this person fails a perception save. I just rolled a natural 20 here for this person.
Am I in the vicinity to...
I will say yes. This affects you, so I will say yes.
I'm going to give that natural 20 a 4.
Okay. So
that wasn't, just to be clear, that wasn't Nookh's natural 20, was it?
No. This person, Nookh, is about to cast an illusion that makes you and him very hard to perceive. But anyone looking at it makes a perception check against it to see if they can tell someone's there. The guard rolled a natural 20, but then they didn't. You see, you make a meow. This person rounds the corner. You see their foot just before them, and you see a kind of a rather horrible sight. Nookh reaches into his arm, almost kind of rends open the skin, but it's almost kind of like papery. It's not real, and twists something inside, and suddenly there's and you see almost like you've turned the fader up on you and him. Both of you kind of disperse visually around. You can tell there's still a blur there. You can make out this kind of blurred shape where Nookh is. But someone to go past this in shadow might not discern it. And you see a guard look around and kind of looks around. And then, would you know it, a cat walks out from the other way and brushes past their leg. And they kind of regard it. And then they kind of reach down to pet it and go...
What's weird?
Go, did you say oof, boy? Did you say oof? And kind of picks up the cat and starts to pet it and walk away. That is what a manipulating luck will get you, is an actual cat. Nookh goes, kind of, is still sitting there. You can tell he's still lying there, kind of like slightly frozen in panic, but you can see this blurred shape pick himself up and goes, this doesn't last very long. We really should hurry. And that carries you to the edge of Moder Rayfort's tent. and we are going to end there tonight. And that was a good session.
No, please, I want to
that
go
was so
on.
tense. Harry, you're so fucking dumb.
That was so close.
What was I supposed to do? The
no.
only weapon I have makes a big noise. A big noise.
Sam, you do want to make sure that you've noted that you've used one of your luck roll, your golden pot rolls. They won't refresh at the start of next session. We'll be in the middle of it. So, brilliant. I think it was a good session. Glad we tuned in. That was insane stealth rolls from Zurab there. Just want to say Inarashi joined us again. Thank you, Inarashi. And Joshua Rogers as well. Thank you very much. And Jake Kelsey. Don't know who that is. But thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Cool. I think we're done here. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Oh, and Necro King. Sorry.